time the engine's running. Go time, I'm gonna start by taking off and out the battery, and then the air intake and filter, and then the spark plug wires. The engine's still hot, so I'm just doing things that I can do while it's hot. Okay, I've removed the air intake resonator, and now I'm gonna try to go for the throttle body. Throttle body off. I don't think I ordered this gasket, so I'm gonna need to do that because it's broken. It's time to take out the radiator now. I got the radiator out and drained. Glad to have this pan because there's a mess. I've got these undone without anything breaking off in the engine, which is nice. Okay, I got the exhaust manifold off. Some of these shreds aren't looking so hot. The catalytic converter was rusted onto the downpipe, so I cut the bolts there, and then the bolts are rusted into the holes, so now I'm cutting the bolts and punching them out. So I cut these bolts too, and since this is so rusted away, I will probably just cut on either side and join them without a removable joint. You can see that there's some rusted through parts, so I'll have to use some JB weld on, and maybe someday get some actual weld on them. So the next step is to remove the catalytic converter from this side of the pipe. Since this bolt here is so bad, I'm gonna replace it with just a regular bolt, and I'm gonna try and pound it out. So it goes partially out. Now I'm gonna take the AC pump off, and I'm not gonna break the system loose so I don't lose AC compression. Okay, now same story with the power steering pump. Okay, the power steering pump is hanging free. AC pump is. Now the goal is to get as many of these connectors and hoses disconnected as I can. Taking the distributor off so I can get to whatever this is. Distributor. Have fun. Okay, I've now disconnected all of the wires and hoses, I think. So the harness is free of the engine and transmission. Now, I am draining the oil. Looks like it's done. Go to the transmission fluid. Not a great color. Lots of metal on that magnet. Now it is time to remove the prop shaft from the transmission. Here you go. Drive shaft has been 86'd. Here's the gear selector. Okay, now it's time to get the axles out. So we gotta take the wheel off and then the axle. Here on the port side, I got the axle out of the wheel hub. Now it's time to get the axle out of the transmission. Okay, the axle's loose. Just gonna leave the axle there so I don't have to tear the car apart anymore. See if that works. We got the other axle out of the transmission. Finally, time to do the mounts. I see one mount in there I accessed from that bolt. Mount there. There's a mount. There's more somewhere. Okay, I got the front and back mounts off. So now the engine is just on its side mounts. Gonna crack that mount. And then that one. And have straps ready to lift this out. The engine is off all its mounts and currently on the ground. I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing out of here. It's pretty tight to lift it out. So here we go, stand by. I think it's happening. I think everything is cleared back there. And it seems to be lifting just fine. The engine is officially out of the engine bay. What a relief. The next step is to replace these mounts. This mount here, when I turned it, just broke the rubber. So that might have been what was causing the engine shake that I was having. This might have something to have done with the shake too, on the rear engine mount. Got two mounts in, and the other ones I'll taking a pause on because the mount that was here, which tore apart really bad, I ordered the wrong part for it, so I have to go get that. But for now, I'm gonna try and mount the engine on the engine stand. Look how well these two hoists and stand fit together. I have it on stand now, so I'm just gonna take off the hoist. Engine is mounted and I'm ready to start working on it. Not sure what to start with first, but we'll figure that out. I removed the manifolds and the valve cover. Now I'm working on replacing the water pump and other timing components. I have the covers off and the pulley off. Now I'm going to replace the water pump and the oil pump, and then later the cam seals. I got the water pump and the oil pump off, and I've prepared the oil pump surfaces with RTV, and now I'm going to put the oil pump on. Oil pump installed. I've flipped the engine and I'm going to clean up the surface between the pan and the block and install the oil pickup. With the oil pan mating surfaces squeaky clean, I will now apply the gasket and screw it on. Gasket on. Now for the pan. Oil pan is on. Now for the water pump. Went to the store and got this mount for the one that I ordered the wrong part for and installed it. We got another mount installed. Fifth and final engine mount installed. Okay, I attached the new cat and I roughened up these spots I need to patch. And I bought some bolts to attach the catalytic converter to the pipe. after I cut off the other old cat. And I'm gonna cut these brackets away so that I can join them with this to the muffler. It's time to take this pipe and put O-rings on the other side and put it back in. Got the new O-rings on and I put it into the block. Now I gotta install the water thermostat housing. Thermostat gets its seal and gets put into the thermostat housing. And then covered with this. Thermostat is now installed. Very good. Okay, time to take the cam gears off and replace the seals behind them. Old cam seals. No seals. We got the seals in. That was challenging, the whole process. Got the cam gears back on, so now it's time to put on the timing belt. I've been fighting this timing belt for like more than an hour, and then I finally read the instructions right, and I put it on in the right order, starting with that one, going up to that one, around. So now, line is lined up with the arrow indicator. The cams, those pointers are pointing at each other. They both point up slightly to the left. And it's on, so we're ready to put covers on. Had a crankshaft position sensor and the JDM did not, so I put that on. I have the timing cover on. Now I'm going to torque the crankshaft bolt of a breaker bar with a cheeser bar against the floor using this special Honda tool to keep the crankshaft moving. And this is set at 130 foot-pounds. Torque wrench went click, click. The timing mark is lined up with the cover mark, and these cams are pointing at each other. Oh, also I use the USDM pulley since I'm using USDM accessories, because they're a little bit different in sizes, and the USDM is less rusty than the JDM. New valve cover gasket and seals. A little bit of RTV on these corners. And time to install the valve cover. Okay, valve cover on. And now it's time to get this oil filter off. It's very stuck. I'm gonna drive something through it and then turn it. Then I'll take the engine off the stand and replace the rear seal by the flex plate here. Not looking forward to that. I've seen this method, but I've never actually done it. If you drive something into your oil filter that you're not going to use anymore, and you not stuck anymore. I have the engine on the lift, but now I have a load lever in my life. It's so much better. That's so nice. Let's play it off. The transmission side, now I gotta replace the seal, which I am not looking forward to. I got the seal on and the plate back on the engine, and I dropped a big heavy object on my phone screen, so now hopefully the recording still works. Now I'm going to mate the engine with the transmission using these dowels to line it up, and using the bell housing bolts to connect them. So I'm just gonna slide the crane this way and the transmission on like that. Here goes. I don't know what I was recording last because I got frustrated and tired, stopped filming, but I've mated the engine and the transmission with 5 12 millimeter bolts, and now I'm going to connect the drive plate or flex plate to the torque converter. These are all torqued on. Now I will put on the flex plate cover. Okay, so I got this, I guess I don't know what to call it, drive shaft connector. Connects the driver's side axle to the driver's side from the transmission. And now I'm going to start scraping away at this exhaust manifold gasket with plastic scraper, clean it, and also do that to the intake manifold side. I've spent about one eternity cleaning these off. I had to resort to a razor blade, but I think I did minimal damage. I don't think it's gonna leak. Okay, this is it. I think it's time to drop it in. I will put the exhaust manifold on when it's in there. These empty holes are for engine mount. This is for AC, that's for power steering. No empty holes back here. Nothing over here. Okay. I think it's time. I checked my supplies and I found one more seal. This is the old one. It's in the transmission passenger side. I'll clean that out and put this seal in. Then I will drop it in. I have it lined up, ready to drop in. So just, I guess I'll go little by little and easy does it, and hopefully it works. It's hanging there, right by the mounts. Mounts going into the right places. So I'm just gonna bolt them in. Okay, some bad news is that I left the JDM mount bracket on the JDM engine, but it sits higher than the USDM one. So when it sits on this mount, the engine tilts towards the driver's side. So I'm gonna have to take this mount off, probably have to take the crank pulley off, take the lower case off, lower cover off, and then be able to get it off. So here we go. I got the plastic cover off, and now I gotta get that bolt that was beneath it. I got the mount on and the cover back on and the wheel, the pulley back on, and these torqued down. So now I can drop it onto there. And that is so much better. It now sits on there, and the engine is pretty much flat with the engine bay, and all the weight is off the crane. So now I just need to line up a few more mounts. I'm installing the exhaust. So I put on the gasket and then torqued these down, and this is on. And I attached down pipe and the catalytic converter. And now I'm going to put on the part behind the catalytic converter. Got the tailpipe installed. Now it's time for the muffler. So I need to take the muffler, slide it on the tailpipe, and then use clamps to keep them in place. Okay, exhaust is fully on. There's that new connection. Now it's time for some more engine work. I think it's time to try to put some belts on. So I'm gonna get the air conditioning pump, AC pump hooked up, as well as the power steering pump and the alternator. Well, here's one of those moments where if I knew what I was doing, I'd be saving a lot of time, but that mount right there, I can't get a belt around it, so I'm gonna have to take it off and then put it back on once the belt is around it. Cool. Got them belts on. I had to learn a lot to be able to do that. That's this whole project. Okay. Then I'm gonna torque down these mounts, and then I guess the next step would be to start plugging the wiring harness in. I believe I've gotten all the wires connected for everything that's in here right now. I still have things like the fans and the radiator and the fast idle and the idle air control valve, throttle body, and distributor. It's also got the fuel injectors to do. But that means I need to put things in now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start installing parts one by one. I'm gonna put the cruise control back in its place and install the intake and go from there. Check. Air intake. Check. And you know what? I'm just gonna do the radiator because why not? Radiator and fans, here we go. Radiator back here. Wake up, little guy, it's time to get in. I have the radiator in and hooked up. I got the transmission hoses connected to the transmission. I got the new upper coolant hose and new lower coolant hose, and they are all nice and tight. No wires are loose, and now it is time, I think, to start. I'm going to start with the idle air control valve, put it on here, and then connect the throttle body. And that requires a gasket. I'm going to have to clean this surface and the other surface and put a gasket in, and then hook that up. I'll put the distributor on, hook up a couple more hoses, and put the new PCV valve. I think that's what it's called, if I'm remembering right. And I don't know what else. There might be one or two more things, but I think we're getting close. Getting close. I have 4 different 12mm sockets, and I think this is the only one I know where it is. Here on the fast idle valve on the throttle body, this piece here was backed out quite a bit on its threads when I opened it, and that's probably what was causing my idle issues before with my old engine. And so I'm gonna put some thread lock on these threads, and I'm gonna put it back in and tighten it all the way down, and hopefully that fixes all the idle issues I had. Even though I have a new engine, I have all the same old components on the outside, so I hope that is what the problem was. Got the air intake in and these vacuum hoses connected. So now I need to install the fuel rail, and then what else? I need to change the spark plugs, I need to install the distributor and the spark plug wires. That sounds like some good next steps. Got the spark plugs and distributor on, spark plug wire connected. This resonator on. Yeah, so I think I need to do throttle cable, battery. No, throttle cable, fluids, battery. There might be something I'm missing, and I'll double check, but I think that's it. I think that is it. It's fluid time. I have Costco 5W30. I have Honda Type 2 coolant, and I have Honda automatic transmission fluid. So I'm gonna fill this engine up, and transmission and radiator. Yum, hungry engine, hungry for oil. Eating that up. Oil. This stuff is dangerous. It smells kind of nice and it looks good. Looks like red. Probably tastes like red. I can see it draining down into the hole there, so that's good. Blue. I bet it tastes like blue. Smells good too. It looks so nice when it's all put together. It looks like it was like meant to be rather than just a mess. So it is time for me to check everything. Time to check everything. I have the fluids in. Oh, and I guess I'll put the tires on, the wheels on. Yeah. Put the wheels on. And then the battery. And then we can test it. Okay, I'm getting the battery. Battery time. Okay, I'm gonna see if it cranks. I've removed the fuse from the fuel pump so that when it cranks, it just fills the thing with oil, if it cranks. And then I'll put the fuel pump fuse back in and then see if it starts. It works. Okay, no way. Let's get some fuel in there. Let's see how that goes. It doesn't smell like exhaust. It might just be stuff on the engine that's burning off because it's hot, but I don't know. We'll find out. I'll find out. It's idling nice. Oh, wow. Yes. Well, it works. There's a rat's nest in here, but I'm getting a crankshaft sensor error, but I can test drive it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna test drive it. Oh boy, down there backing. I'm in the process of cleaning up and finishing up here. I have garbage collected in a pile. Then I'm gonna scrub the concrete with soap and water. I need to top off fluids after they cycle through the engine and transmission. And yeah, that is all. I can drive the car, I think, even though there's a check engine light. I don't think it's catastrophic. I think it's okay. And we'll see how it goes.